Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dirty Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. I need you all to know that I woke up literally 10 minutes ago. Today we're switching it up. I know usually I record around 2 a.m., but now it is 7:30. And the reason I'm recording this early is because yesterday I just didn't have it in me. The entire week, have been exhausted. And yes, I voluntarily woke up at 7:30 on Saturday, and that is dedication. That is because I love y'all, and that is because this is the only thing that's bringing me joy. Because I have had a very long week, and the thing is, in an hour and a half, I need to leave to go to a birthday party that is 2 hours away by train. And I have midterms to prepare for, but I haven't had the chance to just sit down and study because I've been having a lot of lectures, a lot of seminars, a lot of shifts. And it's just like, how am I supposed to manage? And I unfortunately will not be able to stay throughout the entire birthday party, but I want to at least be there for like 2 hours and celebrate my friend. And that meant that I had to wake up and record now so that I can edit on the way there and on the train, because otherwise, like, no matter how busy my life is, no matter what is going on, I will always post. If I don't post an episode, just check on me, because that means something really, really concerning has happened. And now, the thing is, I am a little bit worried about recording this early, not only because the birds are chirping like crazy, but also because my neighbors are, I swear to God, I hate being their neighbor. I I don't want to start off my day with negativity, but I don't wish them any well, because it is crazy to me how they always schedule their renovations whenever I have exams, whenever me and my housemates have exams. And it's just crazy that their renovations go from 9 to 9, but that first 9 actually starts way before 9 a.m. in the morning. Well, a.m. in the morning. I hate when someone says a.m. in the morning or p.m. in the evening, like it is implied. But guys, the thing is, I cannot function for an hour after I wake up. So I apologize in advance. I don't know what I'm going to yap about, and I don't know if I'll make any sense. Also, I'm trying my best to make myself look like a human. I have so many masks on my face right now, and I am just doing my nails, which are turning out to look like a complete piece of shit. But the thing is, I have not been looking like a human recently because of all the exhaustion, and now I'm just trying to make myself look okay for those 2 hours, and then when I come back, who cares? Like, I'll just be in my room studying. And yeah, that's basically it. So I'm sorry if you can hear the birds. I'm sorry if my neighbors start drilling my floor in a few minutes. I hate them so much. I can hear them through my headphones, I can hear them through my earplugs, and nothing helps. And I'm on the verge of going there and yelling at them and just putting a curse on their entire bloodline, because this is completely unacceptable. And I know that you cannot, like, you do renovations when you have money, not when it's convenient for your neighbor. But at least give us a warning. Give us a warning that our place will be unlivable for 12 hours a day, because I'm not over exaggerating, my wall and my bed are shaking whenever they use the drill, which is all the time. And I'm like, girl, because the thing is, we live all in a house, we just have different floors. I know how big your floor is. Why are you drilling like you live in a mansion? Like, how much drilling can one do in that big of a space, which isn't that big of a space? And it is just crazy. So honestly, fuck them. Let's just try to ignore them. My eye patches are falling, and they're also like burning my eyes a little, or maybe it's just my tears. That's just, guys, hello, welcome. So it is officially time for me to come clear and admit to a sin I have committed. I have officially turned into the thing I swore to destroy. I have officially become what was once my biggest enemy. I have picked up running. I know. I have been talking literally since episode 1. About how I have a love-hate relationship with the sport. Actually, it's more of a hate relationship, which maybe grew into some sort of a Stockholm syndrome situationship, and now we are here. I wake up early in the day to go running. My day starts at 7 and it finishes at 10:30 or 11, and then I'm just fried and completely non-functioning. But hey, at least I went for a run. And I know I have talked about this many a time since I tried it out last year, but I promise you, I do have something new to bring to the table. And even if I didn't, honestly, who cares? It is so early in the morning, who cares? Also, the thing is, I record the episode, I edit it, and when I post it, I immediately forget what it's about. And when someone asks me, oh, what is this episode about? Or like, oh, hey, I listened to episode 32, and I'm like, girl, I have no clue what any of this means. Like, you're speaking to me in a foreign language. I have no clue what episode 32 means. And even if I look at the title and I try my titles to be descriptive for what the content is, not only for you guys, but for me, so that I can be given a single hint as to what it is that I talk about, and still not a single clue. So I'm a bit Dory the fish in that aspect, and I have no clue what I have told you on this podcast ever, or I don't know if I've thought about telling you or just literally told you. I don't know. I don't know if every episode is the same and if I'm super repetitive with my stories and whatever. But good for you and for me, I can always stretch an old story and look at it from a different angle and like in a new way. And that is why meeting the word count has never been that big of a problem for me in essays. In fact, considering how much I talk, I have it harder bringing down my... Is it anti-feminist to say that I talk a lot? Because I know there's like a stereotype that women talk a lot, but like also we are constantly being talked over. I'm constantly interrupted. I never listen to. So like maybe actually it is feminist that I talk a lot. Maybe I don't need to think about it in feminist terms. Maybe I just need to just talk. But the thing is, I have it harder bringing down my essays to the word count than like stretching them out in a way to meet the threshold. And I don't mean to jinx myself, but I haven't written an essay in a while. Oh my god, those eye patches are in my, like, the wide part of my eye. I don't even know what it's called in Bulgarian, let alone in any other language, because I don't know. But like they're like obstructing my view right now, and like why do they go up? Well, they go up because I'm blinking. But the thing is, okay, I haven't written essays in a while. Recently it's only been analytical reports, which I mean totally makes sense considering that I am no longer doing an arts degree, but a business one. Switched from one useless degree to another useless degree. What can I say? Rational decision making and like critical skills applicable and applied. And it's just my genius sometimes is frightening when it comes to making decisions about my future. But let me tell you something. I am okay with this. Because the job market is so shitty that even if I did something so scarce, I would still be unable to find a job. Like the other day when my lecturer was like, yeah, when you guys find a job, and I'm like, oh girl, are you sure that's going to happen? Because like, come on. And I am not saying it to be like haha hee hee, but it's like I work at a fast food chain, like we all know this at this point. And at this fast food chain we constantly get an influx of CVs, and those CVs are always by people who have at least a master's degree. And I'm like, oh, girl, you're not giving me any hope for the future, because what do you mean you have a master's degree in engineering and you're just like unable to find a job and you're applying for a fast food chain? And it's just crazy. And I'm just hoping that like why did the economy and everything have to crash when it was time for me to be an adult? Like it crashed when I was a child, and now it crashed when I'm an adult, and it's like I know you guys don't like Gen Z because like you think we're woke, and you're like assuming, oh my god, like this thing is in my eye. No, I need to remove them. I know you don't like us because you think we're woke, and like this wokeness you assume with like some weird shit that like are contrary to what we are, which is like trying to better the state of the world and our existence and not ruin the planet. But it's like, is this how you're expressing the hatred towards us, by like literally saying us, fuck you, we are going, like our older generation of like, that was, lived through the Second World War. Yeah, I'm talking shit about the elderly. I shouldn't. Anyways, it's just, I don't know if I'll be able to have a job ever, like a proper one. And it's a bit concerning because, like, as much as I like my work environment, because I like my colleagues, I didn't come from the middle of nowhere in Bulgaria, a country a lot of people haven't heard about, to here, Western Europe, just to work at a fast food chain. And again, I am not in any way, shape, or form undermining the importance of this work. I am not saying that I hate it. It's just I am hoping to achieve a little bit more. Wow, what a lovely way to start my day, with another existential crisis of whether or not life is worth living. But essays and reports and fun. Let's get back to it, because like if I talk about this a little bit more, I will cry, and all the masks that are on my face are going to be unnecessary, because it will just be the tears moisturizing my skin. Although like the tears are salty, and like salt is dehydrating, so I don't know. I really don't know. So recently I thought about this thing, like with regards to essays and reports. I thought about this thing that I came across about like how one day in your childhood you put down your toys for the last time without even realizing that it's the last time, and you never pick them up again, and you never play with them. And while this scenario is super fucking heartbreaking and actually made me cry, because it made me think about how much we change in life without even comprehending it at times, I firmly believe that the day I submit my last essay or any other academic assignment, even if I don't realize at the time that it's my last one, it is not going to be a heartbreaking moment, but rather a liberation. And don't get me wrong, I love researching stuff, I love being creative with words, but I don't like constraints and the boundaries within which I have to do it. And I don't like doing it because I am forced to, which is pretty much the entire point of university. And I'm not saying that I am forced to be in university. It was my own choice. It was my own choice to pursue a master's degree. But I feel like you know what I mean. Like, I'm pretty convinced that if I didn't have the academic duty, so to call it, to write the reports and the essays and the projects that I have, I would have done way more, because I am interested. There is a reason I decided to continue my higher education, and that reason is not only because I wasn't ready for adult life and I didn't know if I would be able to find a job. Also, like, again, I don't know, even with a master's degree, I will be able to find a job. But I am constrained in a way by these like criteria. And this just reminds me of this one Mark Twain, I believe, quote, which was something along the lines of, don't let school stop you from trying to get your education, or like, don't let school come in the way of being educated or whatever. I'm definitely misquoting, but it is 7:57, and I hate citations, and APA 7, God, you are one of my worst enemies. I love you, but I hate you. And so I hate citing. So you just have to trust me. And actually, I'm not even sure if it's Mark Twain who said it, because I remember seeing it when I was a child on my Facebook like feed, and it's so crazy how the internet actually has normalized quoting notable figures on something that they've never even thought about or lived through or said. And I'm not saying that Mark Twain didn't say it. I'm pretty sure he did. I'm just saying that any overly quoted figure that is dead is probably rolling in their grave, because they're most likely misquoted. Because come on, it's social media. When has something on social media have actually had any credibility? Wait, speaking of, I just need to tell you something. Well, no, I mean, I'm tuning in because I have to tell you something. Can you imagine how weird it would be if I just started podcasting and didn't say anything because I didn't feel the need to tell you anything? I felt like that would be an interesting niche, an interesting creative choice. But anyway, so the other day, my friend told me that she likes watching my close friends' Instagram stories and she misses them because she deleted Instagram, which honestly, queen, I want to be you. Oh my God, I respect you so much. And I really, really want to delete Instagram. And I know I've been talking about this the way I've been talking about running for like the past year. But like this one, I feel it brewing up. And it's just, when it comes to online presence, I only want Dirty Martini to exist, because on Dirty Martini, I never scroll because I don't want to affect my algorithm, because my algorithm is purely podcast related, which I find nice and I find liberating, because I don't have to think about pop culture. Because as much as I love pop culture, sometimes it is a lot to keep up with. And like, I'm not saying that I have to keep up with it, but it's just like, there's like societal pressures and stuff to like be in the loop with certain things. So yeah, my friend deleted Instagram and she said she misses watching my close friend's story and my stories in general and my Instagram presence, because she described me and my online presence as authentic. She told me I'm authentic. Authentic, that's not a word. She told me like the exact word she used was authentic. And this is one of my most favorite compliments I have ever received. And also guys, 3 separate people in the span of a day, literally. Neither of them know each other, by the way. So 3 separate people, unconnected, yet somewhat always connected, because, like the 7-step theory or whatever, like that everybody's like 7 people away from each other. 3 people in the span of a day told me that they would like to live with me, like move in with me. One being my literal housemate, who already lives with me. Also, I feel like I have never received such a high compliment, because you want to share a home with me? What do you mean? Like, that's so cute. Because yes, not to toot my own horn, but like fully to toot my own horn, I am a nice person to live with. Well, if you can handle the casual every now and then blasting of Serbian music whenever I would get the urge to be as Balkan as possible. But I am a nice person to live with from a practical perspective, which is why I would like to live by myself. Like, I give you your space, I clean, I chat when you want to be chatted to, I leave you alone when you want to be left alone. Again, addressing this to the recruiter, hopefully, who is looking at this to see if I'm a good fit for their company. Research says yes. But back to the authenticity compliment. This is such a reassuring and just like endearing compliment, especially when it comes to social media. And I'm not saying this simply because I'm trying to establish a social media presence, but also and mainly because we all know how staged and fake everything on social media is. Or like at least I would hope that everybody knows that nothing on social media is real. And to be seen as human is just so cool because what do you mean you perceive? Actually, first of all, you perceiving me is terrifying because my close friends' stories are created and catered to accommodate me, to fit my wants and needs. Because my favorite pastime activity is just stalking my own archives on Instagram. This is my favorite corner of the internet. I love it so much. It brings me so much comfort. I love looking back on my old eras and being like, oh my God, girl, you ate that. Or like, girl, seek some help. And I never delete my posts either. I just archive everything and I can go through those different eras as well. And my Instagram account is my favorite account ever created because, you know, it's catered to me. I don't give a shit who watches my thing. I don't give a shit who likes my thing. Everything is catered to accommodate to me. And if I post a story, a picture of myself with music like applied to the picture, I feel so CUNTY. Let's not curse. Well, I already cursed that early in the morning. It doesn't matter. Because like I just love looking at pictures of me accompanied by music. I think it's very slayful. I don't know. I don't know. Like it is super narcissistic, but it's just like it makes me feel cool. It makes me feel like I'm in an edit. And yeah, so being perceived by others when I make something for myself is weird. It is weird also when it comes to the podcast because I forget I air out my dirty laundry here and anyone can have access to it. And when someone mentions something from the podcast and a conversation, I honestly just go into an existential crisis mode. Like I have an existential crisis slap in the face that I am perceivable. So I'd rather not think about it, but if I have to be perceived, I am glad and actually thrilled that at least a single person perceives me as real and authentic. And I don't know why I thought super highly of this compliment, but considering that I'm also trying to establish this place here as a representation of myself, it is just cool to see that my personality and everything I am is shining through whatever I create because I want my art. And I'm not saying that actually my close friends' stories are a masterpiece in themselves because there's a lot of weird meme referencing and late night dancing and a lot of complaining going on, which is basically Dirty Martini but with visuals, which is ultimately what I would like to experiment with, but that would mean that I would have to have a better setting for filming and I would have to record not at 2 a.m., well, or 8 a.m. today, and not in my bed and not in my 7-year-old t-shirt that is holding on for dear life and that has so many stains I even don't know what color it was originally, and that I should look presentable. But the thing is, if I look presentable, am I going to be authentic? And I don't mean at the birthday party today, because like the whole point of me being here is that I feel comfortable whenever, whatever, we're meant to be together. I'll be there and you'll be near. And that's the deal, my dear. But I just feel comfortable. Whatever I say and whatever I do and whatever I speak and whatever I think. And if I have to put up appearances and look a certain way to appeal to, I mean, not to appeal to whoever, but like just look presentable, is it going to eradicate my authenticity? That's a really nice, like an interesting thing to think about. And I will make sure to put it on my list of things to ruminate about. But where was I? Running. Yes. Running. Guys, the Cowboy Carter tour looks amazing. Oh my God. Like now I can see why it was priced that highly. Like the tickets, because that production from the few Instagram videos I have seen, stunning. And like, girl, Europe is more than Paris and London. You do realize this, right? Okay. So I started running this year. And it wasn't even something I had planned. It wasn't a New Year's resolution. It wasn't a goal. I think it started purely out of boredom and curiosity, which is how the best things in the world develop. And the thing is, I don't do it even that often. I do it like 1 or 2 times a week, if, because come on, I'm 23. My joints hurt. My hip bone keeps popping and like clanking and making a weird sound whenever I move my hip to the side. And like I know I like my solution is just to not move my hip to the side, but like I am concerned but also scared to go to the doctor because what if they tell me I need hip replacement, or like they're like let's chop it off. Knock on wood, stop. Guys, don't be like me. This is super unhealthy. If you feel like there is a problem with anything like regarding your health, look for professional help, be it physical, emotional, spiritual health. Look for professional help. Don't overlook it. Do as I say, not as I do. The fear of a diagnosis should guide you to get help rather than prevent you from reaching out. You know what? Actually, it's decided. I'm saying it here so that you can hold me accountable. When I go home next time, I will have that checked out. I will have my hip checked out. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully they're just like, oh, your hip just makes a beat because you're that musical, even though you cannot sing for shit. Just like me, a white girl, being overwhelmed by hip hop culture. Oh my god, hip hop. Stop, I'm so smart. But again, like as an absolute Eastern European expat, whenever I go home, of course, on top of the to-do list, it's like go to the hairdresser, go to the dentist, go to any doctor and any service I would need to get done. I don't make the rules. It's just a canon event. This is the contract you sign whenever you leave, whenever you decide to leave the country. But running. Running. Am I going to be doing this entire episode? Let's see. But running, I have been doing it more often, if we consider 1 to 2 times a week, if often. But in fact, in the last 3 months, I have done it more times than I have in my entire life, probably. And that says a lot about how much I used to run before now. Yeah. Because I don't run that often, as I already mentioned multiple times. And I still don't know if I necessarily like it, and if I've never felt the runner's high, but I do it because in the off chance that it is nice weather, I need every single reason known to humanity to just walk outside and not imprison myself inside and study or do anything else. I need to be out and enjoy the rare instances of sun because it is so unstable. And I'm not saying that like being inside and studying is a prison. I actually love my room. I never want to leave it. Like I know I do. I do want to leave it. Like eventually, like I love going on walks, but like I love my room. But it's just like you know what I mean. The weather is just unstable, and in the rare like days that it's nice-ish, I want to be out and enjoy it. And of course, that is when I'm scheduled to work for 12 hours. So that's a bit impossible. So whenever I get a chance, I do try to make the best out of it because, like, on Thursday, it was 26 degrees. Then yesterday, I wore my winter jacket again. What is going on? Like, what is going to happen today? I don't know. And I really would rather overdress because I'm going to a different city where I don't, like, have an access to any clothes. So I would think I'll have to leave with like a warmer jacket. But like the thing is, so yesterday I wore my winter one because it started raining when I went to Lidl because I had to go to the bakery. I'm sorry. But like it started raining and it was windy. So I put on my winter jacket and then the sun decided to come out. And I was like, come on, girl, it's not even like Pride Month. Stop. And like, yeah, and it just started like being scorching hot and I was sweating like a fucking pig. And I don't know, like it's a gamble for today. But anyways, I remember that the first ever time that I ran was during gymnastics, and when it was like our punishment of a sort, and when we like there was this one summer when we went camping at the seaside, and we're children and whatever, and we would just get punished with running on the beach from the town in which we were camping to the other town. So your punishment was to wake up early in the morning and run from one town to the other and come back and run through the sand, which like it's a bit difficult to run through a sand, like not the best, especially when the sand is like scorching hot, even though like it's early in the day. Like the sand, like I feel like sometimes sand is the temperature of the surface of the sun, because how does it get that hot? Like, I mean, of course everything I touch gets hot, but like, come on. And I remember this one time we were punished because one of the guys from like gymnastics from the team broke his hand when we were just like playing. He jumped out of a balcony. Yeah, don't ask what games we were playing, but he jumped out of a balcony and broke his arm. And yeah, don't ask about the logic behind this. It's just the Balkan mentality. You get punished for hurting yourself. Might even get beaten up if you fall. I don't see the logic in it either, don't worry. But every Balkan child has been punished in one form or another for hurting themselves. And maybe, like, it's not funny at all, but it's just like, if a child falls, like, their parents will pick them up and beat them up. Oh no! I'm not laughing at abuse. No, guys, it's not funny. It's like, what is the point? Literally, what is the point? Like, your child fell and you're beating them up because they fell. Or like, you're telling them you're punished because you fell and you hurt yourself. Like, I already hurt myself. That is a punishment enough. My parents were not abusive, by the way. My parents have never beaten me up. My parents have never been physically abusive, never laid a hand on me. I need to make this clear. But maybe that's why I just don't like running, because in my mind it's just equated punishment. And the thing is, I started out running last year for the first time voluntarily, because now who the fuck is going to punish me now? Well, apart from the law. But I'm trying to stay on its good side also because the picture on my ID is absolutely terrible, and I'm stuck with this one until I turn 28, which is honestly closer than I think. Oh my god. Crazy. But like, yeah, when I got my driver's license and when I got my ID, because it's the same picture, I was like, good gracious, ass is bodacious. But when I got my ID card, I was like, I need to stay out of trouble because no one in the history of humanity can ever see that picture. So it's just the law that can punish me now, and I'm trying to be on its good side. And that's honestly such a nice realization to have. Like, I legitimately cannot be told what to do anymore, which is also terrifying as well, because I'm not reliant on anyone for anything, which is nice, but also like, again, terrifying, because like sometimes I just want to have someone to hold accountable for the decisions I make. Add that to the list of existential crises to do. Let's see how many of those I gather today. So last year I started quote unquote running, and I didn't necessarily enjoy it. And I went for probably a total of 5 to 7 runs, and then my knee started hurting, and I was like, fuck this shit, man. Like, I'm not risking my health for something I don't even enjoy. Also, I don't know where to go running, because everything here is just flat urban scenery. And actually, I'm not complaining about the flatness in this instance. As a beginner runner, I'm actually super appreciative of it, because if I were in Bulgaria and I had to run uphill, I would have quit on the 10th second. But I just wish it wasn't all that urban with unnecessarily much cobblestone, because if I want to go to a nature scenery, I would need to take a 30-minute bus ride, and I'm not taking a bus to go running. I feel like that defeats the entire purpose, which literally is not true, but in my mind, that's just how it works. And it's just not pleasant to run on cobblestone. It hurts. And that's why I was like, when I go home in Bulgaria, I'm just going to go to the stadium and run there, which, as you can probably guess, I never literally happened even once, but maybe this summer it will. Maybe it is a summer of opportunities, who knows? And the thing is, like with everything I approach in life, my ego plays a big deal in running as well. So I downloaded Strava, which is basically this fitness app where you can record your activities and connect with people, join communities, do challenges, and just track your progress. And one of my friends told me that she doesn't use Strava because she thinks it's a bit toxic. And at first, I didn't necessarily realize why she would say that, but the more I use it, the more I see it. And the thing is, my profile on Strava is a private one. I only follow my friends there, and I have only let my friends follow me there. Just people I know would genuinely be okay with, like, I know I would be genuinely okay with knowing how I'm developing with. What the fuck, that was not English. Just people who I would genuinely be okay with knowing how I'm developing. And I know those people will not judge me. And the problem is, however, that maybe it is not Strava that is toxic. It is my mentality with which I approach it that is toxic. And just Strava really nicely fits this narrative I'm establishing. And it is a narrative of comparison. So this toxicity that is to be noted when using Strava is one which really enables the biggest thief of joy, aka comparison, to shine through. So the thing is, I started running. Let me open the app. The first ever run I recorded was on February 17th, and it was a 5-kilometer run with a pace of 6 minutes and 43 seconds. And it was the first time I had run since last May, I believe, which is quite a significant amount of time. And even though I do cardio and I do my heat workouts and endurance workouts, I do them at home where the scenery and the process look much, much different. And I'm not undermining the importance and effectiveness of home workouts because they are my favorite. Actually, I think you can achieve pretty solid results with home workouts because I've exclusively been working out at home for the past few years, apart from this fitness little period that I had when I was in the UK. But I've only been working out at home for a plethora of reasons. One of them, like a super core one, being I just don't like people watching me. Not that it's that people are going to watch me if I go to the gym. It's just like being by myself and not caring about what I look like. I can wear my 7-year-old t-shirt or nothing and nobody would care because it's just me. And I like not having to care about what I look like when I perform an exercise. And when I'm in the comfort of my own home, I can experiment with movement without feeling judged because this may get me in trouble with like a significant portion of people. But whether we like to admit it or not, the fitness community, as much as it is motivating, it can sometimes be quite toxic with its poshness. And yeah, so I recorded this one run, and then the thing is, I didn't have proper shoes. I was running with my regular everyday sneakers, which if you ever start running, please trust me, get good shoes. They are at the core of your entire exercise. And this may be a controversial take. Actually, I don't think it's a controversial take. I think it totally makes sense. But I would say it's better not to run than run with not comfortable or not suitable shoes. Because you can do a lot of damage if you run with shoes that are not fit for running. Because my feet would legitimately just bleed. Because the soles of your shoes are so extremely important because you put a lot of weight on your feet. And I'm not saying that you weight a lot. I mean, of course, you're just carrying your weight, but the pressure that you exert as you step is different than the one when you are just normally walking. So get good shoes. That is key. So I record this first run. And then the thing is, I started comparing myself to my friends. And my friends have never said anything about me having to be like them or anything of the sort. They have been super encouraging when I was averaging slower paces as well. And they were super encouraging are super encouraging when now I am getting faster, because support shouldn't be determined by performance. But despite their support, I was putting myself down because I could just not stop comparing myself to them. Because the thing is, 99.9% of my friends who run are men, and they have been running for years. And as you can imagine, you cannot compare the performance of someone who has run 10 times in their life in total and someone who does 10 runs a week. And a little side note, because I really love sharing this because I'm super, super proud. I have this one friend. I think every now and then he listens to the podcast because on one episode he commented. So if you're listening to this, hello. Like I've told you before, every single time I have the chance to shout you out, I do it because I think the things you achieve are just non-human in the best possible way. So I have this one friend. He is an absolute monster when it comes to running. Oh, excuse me. And I always boast when it comes to him because I'm super proud of his achievements. He, for 2 years in a row, ran this marathon thing, but it's not a regular marathon that is 42 kilometers. That's like easy work for him. He ran a marathon in the mountains in Bulgaria, and the distance he ran was 100 kilometers. And last year he was, if I'm not mistaken, but even if I'm mistaken and he scored lower, I don't give a shit because in my mind he is number one. But I think he set a time which was top 10 in Bulgaria, which is so unbelievably impressive. I think, first of all, running 100 kilometer nonstop, that is just so fucking impressive and badass. The thing is, I have talked to him about this multiple times, and I feel like he undermines his success and achievement whenever we talk about it. Maybe it's because of humbleness or shyness or whatever, but this is something you shouldn't shut up about because that is mind-blowing. There's like only 1% of humanity that finishes a regular marathon that is 42 kilometers, let alone 100 kilometers. That is impressive. And my problem, which is literally not my friend's fault at all, and if he's listening, don't even think about this at all. I'm not blaming you. It's all in my head. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. It is not your problem. It is my problem. And my problem is that I compare myself to him. And of course, I cannot compare myself to someone who runs 30 kilometers just for breakfast on a regular Tuesday. But my problem is that I do compare myself to him and my other friends who also have been running for a very long time. And I just remember that one friend who ran the 100 kilometers last year during his Strava Wrapped, he had run like more than 3,000 kilometers. Guys, if you hear my stomach speaking up, I'm so sorry. She wants to make an appearance. I have this group project and we meet, and like our meetings, like we meet like twice a week, and our meetings are always so long and I just end up starving, and it's like, it's so embarrassing because like as we're working, you can just hear my stomach making a beat. And like, okay, so at this point, I'll just like, whenever my stomach makes a beat, I'll introduce my hip as well, and I'll be like a one-man band. But yeah, so my friend ran more than 3,000 kilometers the entire year, and it was basically, it could have been like way more than 3,000. I don't remember, but it was at least 3,000, which is basically the distance between Sofia and Amsterdam. And it's just even further mind-blowing when you perceive it like this, that this person ran from Bulgaria to the Netherlands. I used to be, and I still am, one of those people who doesn't necessarily get why people just go out and decide, today I am going to run 50 kilometers. And while I don't understand it, at least yet, I can still appreciate the dedication and hard work because that is just mad impressive. But from Bulgaria to the Netherlands, that's just on another level. That is crazy. And my friends always joke that I want to walk everywhere and walk long distances because I average 20,000 steps a day. But that is just crazy. And I feel like we don't talk about it enough, that those athletes are just superhumans. And honestly, they would have been great nomads. I said what I said. The thing is though, I, who had at one point ran their longest distance of 6 kilometers, cannot compare myself to those people who have dedicated years to perfecting this, because I started with a pace of almost 7 minutes per kilometer, and on Thursday, Actually, when it was like 26 degrees, scorching hot, I actually set my new personal record, which was, let me check again. I ran 5 kilometers for 26 minutes and 16 seconds, which I have to admit, I was so proud of myself because, so from February until May, which is crazy that it's already May, it's gonna be May, because that means that we're almost halfway through the year, which means that we're halfway through the decade, and that is add this to the existential crisis list. Now, let's focus on the running. In 3 months, I had improved my time with 1.5 minutes per kilometer, which I know maybe doesn't sound like a lot, especially if you're not a runner, but honestly, that is a lot considering that I don't even go running every single week. And I've only been consistent in the past, 3 weeks. And I would say, yeah, I started running more consistently mid-April, early mid-April. And now, severe trigger warning for the rest of the episode about an unhealthy obsession with and relationship to sport and its perception, and I might even mention food and my relationship to food. I feel the need to remind everyone that I'm not a doctor. Don't take my health advice. There are far more qualified people you can reach out to. But here I want to share my personal experience with these things. And if it helps one person feel seen in their struggles, I have done my job. But trigger warning, if you think this would be something that affects you negatively, please turn off this episode. There's no need to put yourself through something. Again, it's just my personal experience, my personal opinion. It is not based in factology. It is not backed up by any evidence. It's just my experience. So take care of yourself, guys. If you decide to switch off the episode right now, it was lovely to chat with you up until this point. And if you decide to stick around, please, if at any point you feel like it's getting too much, just switch it off. So here's the thing. When I first started running, because of this comparison that I was doing, I had this crazy obsession with numbers because on Strava, you get an abundance of information about your performance. And I was too focused on numbers when it came to performance that I was not listening to my body. And that ended up hurting me emotionally and physically because I pushed myself over a limit that I should have never crossed. Thankfully, I recovered only in 3 weeks, but that was still a scary and a super necessary reminder that I should take it slow. Nobody is chasing me, and while I'm running, I'm not running out of time in that aspect. Nobody's chasing me. There isn't an end goal in mind, and there's most definitely not a deadline. But the thing is, whenever I would go for a run, I would always go with the mentality, oh, I need to beat my personal record. I need to beat my personal record. And if I ran with a pace that is slower than the one I had set for myself for that day, I felt like my exercise was a waste of time and that I wasn't doing good enough and I was just beating myself up, which is so not only not productive, it is so extremely detrimental. And it took me going for a run once and for the first time not beating my PR to bring myself down to earth. Because I was reminded that the world kept on spinning and it was genuinely not that serious. And I shouldn't be giving it that much importance that it determines my self-perception or anything me related. Because the focus in sport, the focus in food, the focus in health should not be numbers. It should be based on what you feel is okay, especially when it comes to movement. Adjust and readjust to what your body tells you. And take this from an ex-gymnast and someone experimenting with different sports and still struggling to cope with this idea. But again, do as I say, not as I do. You should always listen to your body. And if you don't respect your body's boundaries, it is going to punish you for crossing the limit. It is going to make you respect its boundaries, whether you like it or not. And you're more likely not going to like it. And this one day, it was last or like the week before last week, actually my ego perhaps took over. The thing is, I had realized this toxicity that I had instilled in sport, not just in running, in sport, as well as with focusing on numbers. And it was also after the first time I had not bettered my time, and I felt both defeated and liberated. And I was just like, I'm not going to look at my phone at all throughout this entire run, and I would just go based off of feeling. Because when I would go for a run, I would again just track the numbers all throughout my run and get distracted. And that would just make me feel exhausted. And that one day when I told myself, I'm not going to look at my phone, what happened was that I ended up running 10 kilometers for the first time in my life. And I ran those 10 kilometers without stopping even for a second. And those 10 kilometers that I ran, listening to my body, at the pace that my body felt comfortable with, felt far less tiring than the 5 kilometers, which were numbers focused. And I'm so proud of myself for recognizing the struggle and admitting it and targeting it. And I just feel so proud, not only because I ran like such a long distance that I never thought would be attainable, or I didn't think would be attainable that early on in my running quote unquote career, but I felt proud also because in that moment I set myself free from numbers, or like at least to a certain extent. I realized how much they were constraining me and limiting me, and how much more I could actually achieve and what I was capable of if I just let go of trying to prove a point. And I didn't even know if I was trying to prove that point to my friends who were following me on Strava, to myself, or someone else. I don't know. Because it is so easy to forget that everyone is going at their own pace. And here I'm not only talking about running. In life, everyone is in their own lane. And there are intersections, that's for sure, but everyone is headed in their personalized direction. And I cannot beat myself up for not going in another direction at another pace if those weren't meant for me in the first place. And those 10K were liberating, not because I proved a point, but because I had forgotten the entire point of running. My friends kept on telling me to learn how to run first before I start chasing distances and pace, to learn a proper technique, to learn proper breathing, to not abuse my body to achieve a certain number. They were up in my ear telling me it is not worth it, but my ego came in the way and I threw everything out the window. And they were so right. I did hurt myself, my calf. It took me 3 weeks roughly to recover. It was very, very painful. And I was very scared that I had tore something, and it was not pleasant. It was really not pleasant. But it took me bringing myself to the point of exhaustion, to the point of, do I even want to run ever again, to actually comprehend what they were trying to tell me and that they were trying to protect me. And unfortunately in life, I feel like with me, or maybe it's just like a canon event, we don't listen to the people who have been in our shoes and want to protect us because we feel like we know better, we can do better. And sometimes I guess we just have to go through the pain ourselves to understand what the other person was trying to tell us. And what they were trying to tell me is that I should not run because I feel like I have to, but I should run because I feel like I get to, because it's enjoyable, because it's something that I want to do, not because I have to do it. And if I don't find it enjoyable, to simply not do it. Because for me personally, it has at times been easy to forget that sport should not be practiced as a form of punishment, but as something that allows you to enjoy your physical ability to move. And it's just so crazy how much we constrain ourselves when we think of certain indicators of performance, when performance, unless you're a competitive athlete, shouldn't have to be about numbers. It should be about enjoyment. And the thing is, those numbers are sometimes not even representative of what we are actually capable of or who we actually are. Out of curiosity, last week I decided to go online and just check for a rough estimation of my body fat percentage, which, yeah. And what this would, I was just curious, like, what category I would be put in and what this would imply for my health and wellness. So I put in my metrics, fully conscious that they might be something I don't like hearing, and I put them into a calculator, and that calculator told me that I am on the verge of obesity and that my fitness level is very poor. Now, here's the thing. I don't necessarily agree with those results because I'm not one to boast, but I would say that my fitness level is very much not poor because I have been working out for 5 days a week at least since I was 6. And I'm not saying that working out equals good fitness level. It's just I know my fitness level is not poor because I know what my body is capable of, even if I sometimes try to make it more capable than it is. But I know that I have some capabilities when it comes to movement and stuff. And I admit it. At times I did practice sport as a form of punishment. And I have been working on my relationship to working out for the past 2 to 3 years. And it has been a very difficult journey. It fluctuates constantly. Like, there are times in which sport brings me so much enjoyment, and there's times in which I'm like, I don't want to do this at all. And I'm trying to listen to my body. That is the thing. I'm trying to listen to my body, and I'm trying to free my body and my existence from categories which would categorize me as healthy, unhealthy, high fitness level, poor fitness level, because it is so extremely subjective, so extremely circumstantial, and most of those scales are not even good because they were developed without much consideration, honestly. And yeah, it's been a difficult journey, but it has been a rewarding one because it is, again, at the stage of, like, now I'm at the stage of I get to do this, not I have to do this. Working out genuinely brings me a lot of pleasure. It makes me feel productive. And here's the thing. I enjoy movement, and my love for movement has been increasing ever since I started working on my relationship to it. And I love being a couch potato, but I also love being active. I love exploring movement. I love dancing. I love practicing Pilates. I love cardio workouts. I love weighted workouts. I just love movement, and I just love working out because it was there when I was growing up, and it had just turned into a habit, which was such an uplifting moment in my life that I got to practice on the daily. So yes, I may not be able to run a marathon yet or ever. I don't know if I would even want to run a marathon. I may not be able to bench press 100 kilograms, but I would not say that my fitness level is poor. So the reason I'm mentioning this is to tell you guys that those numbers are not reliable and are not indicative of your abilities, especially your weight. I know it's so much easier said than done, but you are not your weight. There's so many factors which influence it. And as for, oh my God, I choked. But as for women in particular, our periods influence it so much. And I know I have had a problem on the milder side, and I'm sorry for being unable to provide more insights and like non-factological proof. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but what helped me, and which would be my biggest advice to anyone who, like me, would get obsessed with numbers, my advice is to attack the obsession at its core. Maybe delete Strava. And I mean, maybe doctors would disagree with me, but if you own a scale, take the scale, throw it in the garbage can, and try to forget that it even existed, and don't buy a new one. I remember when I was doing gymnastics, we would weigh ourselves when we were 10, 11, every single day. And if I were 200 or 300 grams heavier than the day before, which at the time I didn't comprehend that that was just water weight, or I had just had a heavier lunch or hadn't gone to do number 2, I would just beat myself up so much, which would reflect on the way I ate. And the thing is, if I saw that I was 300 grams more, I would beat myself up. But 300 grams less was just acceptable. And if I could go back, I totally would tell myself to just not step on that scale, because those numbers determined the way I felt and the way I felt about myself. And that was detrimental and unnecessary and so harmful. And it's so extremely toxic. And I hate that there's so much emphasis put on weight, not from a health perspective, but from an aesthetic perspective, it is so heartbreaking because your body is a vessel and your body's job is to keep you alive, not to look Instagrammable. But we have, as a society, completely twisted the narrative and have put the wrong thing on a pedestal. Again, talking about aesthetics rather than health. But what do I know? The only thing I know is that I'm going to miss my train if I don't leave in 15 minutes, and I'm still in my pajamas. So thank you all so much for listening. I'm so sorry if you found this triggering, and if you would like me to never talk about this again, do let me know. And if you would like, on the contrary, for me to share my experience with other aspects, because I unfortunately only scratched the surface, then again, do let me know. Again, I'm not a doctor. Don't take my advice. Listen to your body. Just prioritize yourselves, guys. Listen to your body, be appreciative of it, and cut it some slack. Again, its job is to ensure survival. But with that being said, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye!